I saw my stepmom's Reddit account and found out that she hates me and my siblings. I'm really pissed off, and one event I even cried reading the things she said, and I know what to do. I don't need any advice. I just want to vent. My father has been married to my stepmother for 5 years. He has been divorced from my mother since my younger brother was less than 2 years old. There is no beef between them, and they have a good co-parenting. I have a 17-year-old sister, a 16-year-old brother, and I'm 25. Then my father has a 3-year-old son with my stepmother. I found her Reddit account in a pretty random way. Since I'm usually only home on the weekends, I let her use my computer, and she forgot to close her email. She doesn't post too much, but she comments a lot. I was honestly going to close the email, but it caught my attention that all the replies were from a step-parents subreddit, so curiosity won me over. The first thing I saw was her last post, in which she detailed things about my life, criticizing my decisions, and even lying to get people to support her. She's just f***ing crazy. She has posts on that site talking about how happy she feels when my siblings are not at home. My sister adores her, but SM has comments talking about how she can't wait for my siblings to turn 18 and leave the house because she just wants to share the house with her family, my father and her toddler. It seems that she doesn't see us as her family. She has a lot of comments answering other people that it's totally okay to not love your stepchildren because they're not family, and it's okay not to consider them one. I understand that she can feel that way, but why does she make my sister believe that she is her second mother if she hates that so much? She has comments talking about how much it bothers her when my dad and brother have sleepovers. They just watch TV in the playroom and then go to sleep. She says she's tired of hearing the laughter of a teenager and can't wait until we all leave the house so my father can be with his legal family. I thought it was crazy how legal family was repeated so much in that sub, full of posts of people talking that way. But what she hates the most is having to learn sign language for my little sister. It had always seemed strange to me that SM still struggles with sign language, but now I know that she never really put in the effort to learn. My sister always said that for many people sign language is very difficult, so I never said anything. SM simply communicates because my sister reads lips and can say few words. But now I know that SM always found stupid to learn how to communicate with her. I was too surprised by the hatred she has when my father spends time with me and my sister. Her jealousy towards us is so obvious that it disgusts me that there were so many people who told her how they feel the same way about their SDs. To the point of sexualizing the interactions between father and daughter, like feeling jealous when we're in the pool with him. It's disgusting how there were so many people saying they feel the same. My siblings are not problem children. They even like her a lot, and what fills me with anger the most is that she is so false in front of us. Maybe I would understand this behavior if we had a bad relationship, but she has never shown that dislike towards us before. She's just so fake. Do you know the number of times I offered to babysit my stepbrother so she and my dad can go on a date? All those times she refused to let me take care of him, but now I saw comments that she left about how I am living at my father's house and I don't help her at all, only for other people to respond saying that she should give my father an ultimatum to make me leave, because I'm too old to live with him and he now has a family to take care of. I cook my food, do my laundry, I help my father pay the bills while SHE doesn't, and I usually only come home on the weekends because I'm doing a police academy and working almost full week. I don't even care if I'm making too obvious who I am. It was my father who told me to move back with him, so that when I come back from the academy during the nights it will be a shorter trip. She actualizes my interactions with my father, saying that it is not normal for me to sleep a nap hugging him and that I should know my place. He is my father. What the hell wrong with her? I'm so disgusted. I have the comments. I have the post. I have even comments from years ago, and I will use them. I don't care. I don't want any advice because I already know what I'm going to do. Now to the next story, story 2. I, 17F, absolutely cannot imagine a romantic future for myself. I graduated high school only a few weeks ago. When? I do not remember, as every day has become a blur for me. I am 170 centimeters and overweight, so romance has rarely presented itself as an option to me. I don't have crushes often. The boy I found myself taking a liking to began dating a shorter, skinny classmate of mine only weeks before I graduated. It was a mild interest at best, so it wasn't a major heartbreak, but it dug up old, buried memories. Many crushes of mine have slipped from my fingers and fell into the laps of friends of mine. From middle school to sophomore year, I remember having brief talking stages with boys before they always ended up dating one of the girls in my friend group. Short, week-old relationships that always ended the moment I began talking to another boy before he was inevitably snatched up by those same friends. At first, it felt like a cruel joke. I thought my friends were all doing it on purpose, but in reality, I never spoke to my friends about my romantic interests, nor have I ever mentioned boys around them. They were always coincidences, cruel in nature, but still coincidences. Those week-old relationships, my classmate getting the guy I liked pre-graduation, and my few and far, yet never reciprocated crushes only made me realize that the weeks I spend getting men to warm up to me as I gradually break from my shell will never amount to the endless charm and beauty all the girls around me exude effortlessly. Alas, I'm no longer friends with any of the aforementioned girls. All friendships ruined from my tendency to distance myself and isolating for years at a time that stem from my own insecurities that bubble from within. It's unfortunate, but no one's fault aside from myself. However, back to my boy woes. I have never had a romantic relationship, nor have I ever been touched as one would touch a romantic interest. I have never had my first kiss either. However, I have had a boyfriend. Online. Over the phone. Yep. I resorted to e-dating, though. Keep in mind I was 13 when we started talking. Our relationship was on and off for the following 3 years. But in the end, how long can a relationship that's overseas last? Of course, it does partially make me sad knowing one of the few boys that paid any kind of attention to me could only stay so long due to the fact that he was nowhere near me. I am on the road to becoming an oral and maxillofacial surgeon. The apartment I want to acquire wouldn't even put a dent in monthly pay. Even if dental school is expensive, I know many other ways of having it paid for. I've focused too heavily on my future. I have a carefully drawn-out plan, and I know how I wish to execute it. Even if things don't go according to the main plan, I have many backups. All my financial woes have been solved to ensure my future is without poverty. Now what? I imagine myself in a large house. My family has always pushed me to be a homeowner, plus my love for interior design wouldn't be stunted by a landlord. Nothing bad could come from having a home, right? I've always loved two-story homes in particular. However, the second floor usually houses more rooms. But who will be accompanying those rooms? I love horror. I always end up being scared shitless, though. Many people think horror movies are cheesy, but Lights Out made me unable to sleep without the blankets over my head for a few days. I got over it, though. My family was always around me. I watched Greylock, an analog horror, and I'm typing this with my blanket over my head now. My grandpa is here, but who will be there to help me get over my addiction to horror that tends to bite me in the back come nightfall when I move into my extravagant, two-story home? A bit of a tangent here, feel free to skip. I've seen many movies and stories where fat girls lose tons of weight and become so incredibly attractive. I've always had this fantasy of mine that I was just wearing a fat suit, and one day I'll go to school and go to the bathroom and unzip my fat suit to reveal a gorgeous, skinny girl underneath. Of course, that is only a fantasy of mine. I know I have to lose weight, but I realistically can't do that at the moment unless I starve myself. No, really. I have a condition that doesn't break down sugar, not diabetes, and starches, red meats, dairy, soy, butter, oil, and coffee worsens my condition. I need a certain kind of medication that allows my body to break down those foods again, not diabetes, so I have a chance to lose any kind of weight. I'm often the only fat person in the room full of the flattest stomachs, and it's so wild. I live in America, for crying out loud. I thought we were the land of the obese. Why am I the only one with a fupa? It all feels like a big joke sometimes. I don't believe in higher powers, but if there are any, I'd imagine I'm their favorite punching bag. In my 30s, which I've always believed when I'll finally achieve my dreams of being a surgeon and a homeowner, the only thing that comes to mind for me is an empty home. I do somewhat think that with my money, boredom, and loneliness that I may end up in a sugar mommy relationship. I've never in particular been opposed to that, which is incredibly odd to think of. I've always been a giving person. I enjoy giving, but imagining the rest of my love life will be a non-committal exchange in money for kisses between me and some younger man is something. I think to myself as well, what about kids? I don't think I'd enjoy being a housewife. I wouldn't mind being a provider for a family thought. However, I know what being a house spouse does to both sexes, and I'm not sure any man would willingly take that position. If I had kids, I would want them to go to a private school, as I've only been able to go to public schools. I do want my hypothetical kids to have a better future than I. I always wanted a house full of daughters, but I wouldn't be upset if I had an equal amount of sons. If I only had boys, I would pass out though. Joke. Yearly tuitions are about $16K, I hear? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'd love to save just a bit of money from every paycheck of mine to allow my kids to graduate from one. What if I don't have kids, though? I suppose that is a lump sum of money I'll be able to blow in retirement. As I've started writing this at 12, something in the morning, it is now 1:15, and I believe it's time for me to wrap my tangents up. I have accepted my life of lovelessness. I can only hope the promising future of cruised, vacations, and property owning will fill that hole in my heart, and that my sugar baby will be very generous with the sugar. Now, third story. Karen upset about kids playing outside. So this is my first post here. Been trying to find a good subreddit to post it on for a while, lol. For context, I am a 21 years old female. I'm on mobile, so I apologize now for any typos or weird layout. I was driving home after work around 5 p.m. a couple of months ago. It was light outside and unusually warm for the fall. So as I pulled into my subdivision and drove extra slow because some of the neighborhood kids were riding bikes in the street, others playing catch in their yards etc. Normal. It's a nice day play outside kid stuff. As I slowly drove down the street being careful not to hit any of the kids and waving at some of the neighbors I knew, I came to my street. Up until this point everything seemed normal. I had to turn left to go down my street and to my house, and unfortunately could not do so. A woman was standing in the middle of the road, along with a man on the other side of it in his yard. The woman around 40 to 50 with about shoulder-length brown hair with gray streaks. The man around 30 to 40 bald, with a full beard. The woman was very well dressed, standing near a charcoal-colored big expensive-looking SUV. And the man, who I knew as he was a friend of my stepmother, had no shirt on, but had jeans and no shoes. Imagine a shorter middle-aged woman and a big buff bald biker dude. He does in fact have 2 motorcycles. The woman was screaming at the man, and since I had my windows down and my sunroof open, I could hear everything word for word. Though it's been a while since this has happened and I don't remember everything said, I do remember the gist of the conversation going something like this, but please take it with a grain of salt as this is not verbatim. Woman, you people need to get these kids out of the street. I couldn't get through with my car. I have to leave again and am in a hurry. Man, slightly agitated by the woman's yelling, but keeping his cool pretty well. What do you want me to do about it? They aren't even my kids. It's a nice day. Why are you so upset by kids playing outside anyway? Taking a few extra seconds to drive down the street isn't going to make you late. Woman, more angry now and approaching the man with her fists balled up. I don't care if they're your kids. Get them out of the street so I can leave again. Man, starting to lose his cool again. They aren't my kids and I cannot control them. The only reason I came over from my own porch is because I saw you were yelling at my neighbor's daughter while playing hopscotch on her own driveway. Woman, Well, she was screaming and laughing too loud, and the girl with her ran into the street in front of me, to which I had to slam on the brakes. Man, now obviously very angry. I watched you yell at her from your car. Her sister did not run into the street except to ask you what was wrong and went right up to your window. The girl you were yelling at is 10, and her sister, who you accused of running into the road, is 16, and from what I could tell was very concerned and polite. You even drove past them to park your SUV on the street, then come back on foot to berate them some more. Woman, visibly embarrassed by being caught in a lie, but still too angry to admit this. Well, the other kids are on bikes, and as I pulled in, almost hit one of them as they rode right in front of me across the street. Get them out of here so I can leave. Man. Slowly approaching the woman, so they are face to face instead of her yelling from the middle of the road. Now they were both there. That's when he seemed to notice me and waved. As I said, we knew each other. Woman. Seems agitated by this, gives me the middle finger, then proceeds to yell at the man some more. I can't remember what she said, and then spits at his foot. Man, did you just try to spit on me? Woman, acting completely innocent of this, of course not. Why would I do that? Man, looks down at foot. My foot is wet. You definitely spit at me. What is your problem? They are kids, and you are overreacting. It's a nice day, let them have their fun. All you have to do is be careful. Is that really so hard? Woman continues yelling obscenities and calling the man names and tries to throw a punch. Man avoids said punch, holding his hands up in defense, trying to no avail to calm her down. That's when I noticed not one, not two, but 3 police cars, one an SUV, pull up behind me. I guess one of the other parents thought a fight was going to break out and called the police. That's when they finally moved out of the way, and I was able to continue down my street to my house. No idea what set this woman off, but spoke to the man about it around a week later, where he said that she was arrested for public intoxication as she was drunk when arguing to him, and also got a DUI as several witnesses saw her driving down the street before the argument, and she had gotten out of her car and directly went over to the girls with no time to take a swig, so she had to have already been drunk, which means she was driving that way. I don't know if any of the charges stuck, as that seems pretty circumstantial to me, but who knows? I found this all pretty entertaining afterwards and recounted it to my parents afterwards. And though it doesn't really directly involve me, I was a sitting duck just witnessing all this. Have never seen this woman again, but do see her SUV from time to time, though I've always seen a man driving it, who I assume is her husband, as I was sitting there long enough to memorize the plate and know for sure it's her car.